Ancient Romans paid soldiers with rosemary instead of gold. But why would warriors prefer a simple plant? Your brain might be sharper than you think, but it's probably not as sharp as it could be. Ancient Greek students knew something we're just rediscovering. They wore crowns of rosemary during their most important exams. Not for luck, for focus. Turns out they were onto something massive. Modern research shows that just smelling rosemary can boost your memory performance by up to 75%. That's not a typo. Students who studied in rooms with rosemary aromatherapy scored dramatically higher on memory tests than those who didn't. The scent alone triggered their brains into overdrive. But here's where it gets really interesting. Rosemary doesn't just help you remember where you put your keys. It actually changes your brain chemistry. The herb increases something called nerve growth factor production. Think of this as fertilizer for your brain cells. Your neurons start growing stronger connections, faster processing speeds, and better communication networks. Well, what's causing all this brain magic? The secret weapon is carnosic acid. This compound acts like a bodyguard for your brain cells, protecting them from the daily damage that leads to memory loss and mental fog. Most people don't realize their brains are under constant attack from free radicals, stress hormones, and environmental toxins. Carnosic acid fights back, keeping your mental machinery running smoothly for decades longer than it would otherwise. Then there's the instant clarity effect that catches everyone off guard. You know that moment when you walk into a room and forget why you came? Rosemary can literally reverse that mental stumble in real time. The aromatic compounds travel directly to your brain's memory centers through your nose, bypassing your digestive system entirely. Scientists tested this by having people smell rosemary essential oil for just 5 minutes before taking cognitive tests. The results were shocking. Participants showed immediate improvements in mental clarity, processing speed, and working memory. No pills, no waiting periods, no side effects, and the weird part is how long these effects last. Unlike caffeine that gives you a quick spike followed by a crash, rosemary's brain benefits build over time. Regular exposure actually rewires your neural pathways for better long-term memory storage and retrieval. Mediterranean cultures have been using rosemary as a brain booster for thousands of years. They weren't just seasoning their food, they were medicating their minds. Modern neuroscience is finally catching up to what traditional healers always knew. Let's not forget the concentration factor that sets rosemary apart from other herbs. While lavender relaxes you and peppermint energizes you, rosemary does something different entirely. It creates what researchers call calm alertness. Your mind becomes sharp and focused without the jittery anxiety that comes with stimulants. The most surprising part, you don't need much. A few drops of rosemary oil on your wrist, a sprig in your study space, or even rosemary tea can trigger these cognitive benefits. Your brain starts working better almost immediately. But memory enhancement is just the beginning of rosemary's hidden powers. This humble herb has been quietly fighting battles in your body that most people never even know are happening. You thought rosemary's brain-boosting powers were impressive? Well, buckle up. This humble herb has been quietly performing medical miracles that would make Big Pharma nervous. Here's something that'll blow your mind. Researchers discovered rosemary extract actually helps people overcome drug addiction. Not kidding. The compounds in this plant reduce withdrawal symptoms and cravings better than some expensive rehab treatments. Ancient healers somehow knew this centuries before we had fancy lab equipment to prove it. But wait, there's more weirdness. Rosemary naturally thins your blood. That's right, the same herb sitting in your spice rack acts like a gentle natural blood thinner. People on blood-thinning medications need to be careful with large amounts, but for everyone else, it's like having a cardiovascular assistant growing in your garden. Makes sense why Mediterranean folks who cook with rosemary constantly have such healthy hearts. Then there's rosmarinic acid. Don't worry about the fancy name, just know it's your body's best friend during allergy season. This compound fights allergic reactions from the inside out. Sneezing fits, watery eyes, that annoying runny nose, rosmarinic acid tackles them all. Way better than drowning yourself in antihistamines that make you feel like a zombie. Let's not forget about joint pain relief. Your grandmother probably knew this trick already. Rubbing rosemary oil directly on sore joints and arthritic areas provides real lasting relief. The anti-inflammatory compounds penetrate deep into tissues, reducing swelling and pain. Professional massage therapists have been using this secret for decades, charging premium prices for what you can make at home. And the weird part is, traditional midwives used rosemary to prevent miscarriages. Modern science finally caught up and discovered why. The herb strengthens uterine muscles and improves blood flow to reproductive organs. Obviously, pregnant women should consult doctors before using any herbs, but our ancestors weren't just making stuff up. The most shocking discovery came from cancer researchers. Rosemary doesn't just prevent cancer, it actually stops existing cancer cells from spreading. The antioxidants literally suffocate tumors by cutting off their blood supply. One study showed rosemary extract slowed breast cancer growth by 87%. 87%. That's not some wishful thinking health blog nonsense, that's peer-reviewed medical research. Diabetics are getting in on the action too. Rosemary helps control blood sugar spikes naturally without the harsh side effects of pharmaceutical drugs. The herb improves insulin sensitivity and glucose metabolism. Basically, your body becomes better at handling sugar when rosemary's around to help. Here's the kicker. Rosemary's antioxidant power is stronger than vitamin E. Stronger, we've been obsessing over vitamin supplements while ignoring this green powerhouse that grows like a weed in most climates. Your liver loves rosemary too. After a night of questionable decisions, rosemary compounds help flush toxins and repair cellular damage. It's like having a built-in detox system that actually works, unlike those expensive juice cleanses. But here's what really gets interesting. Rosemary fights bacteria more effectively than some antibiotics. In a world where superbugs are becoming resistant to conventional medicine, maybe we should pay attention to what nature's been offering all along. Speaking of natural solutions, wait until you see what this herb does for your appearance. We've covered the brain benefits and healing powers, but here's where rosemary gets absolutely wild. This humble herb sitting in your kitchen right now could be more powerful than medications costing thousands of dollars. Cancer researchers have been quietly studying rosemary for decades. The results? Mind-blowing. Carnosic acid and rosmarinic acid literally tell cancer cells to stop reproducing. But wait, there's more. These compounds don't just slow down cancer growth, they actually make cancer cells self-destruct while leaving healthy cells completely untouched. Your grandmother's Sunday roast seasoning is basically a selective cancer assassin. Then there's the diabetes connection that Big Pharma definitely doesn't want you knowing about. Rosemary extract helps your body use insulin more effectively, naturally lowering blood sugar spikes after meals. One study showed diabetics who consumed rosemary tea daily had better glucose control than those on standard medications alone. Makes sense, right? Nature often beats the laboratory. And the weird part is how powerful rosemary's antioxidants actually are. We're talking about compounds that make vitamin E look like a lightweight amateur. The antioxidant capacity of rosemary extract is so intense that food companies secretly use it to preserve products instead of synthetic chemicals. Your spice rack contains industrial-strength disease protection. Let's not forget your liver, that hard-working organ filtering every toxin you encounter daily. Rosemary acts like a bodyguard for liver cells, protecting them from alcohol damage, environmental toxins, and even pharmaceutical side effects. People who regularly consume rosemary have measurably healthier liver function tests. Their livers literally age slower. But why does rosemary fight bacteria better than some antibiotics? The plant produces these antimicrobial compounds as its own immune system. When you use rosemary, you're borrowing millions of years of evolutionary warfare against harmful microorganisms. Researchers have found that rosemary oil kills antibiotic-resistant bacteria that stumps modern medicine. Well, here's something that'll blow your mind. Ancient Mediterranean cultures had some of the lowest rates of degenerative diseases in human history. Guess what herb dominated their cooking? They weren't accidentally seasoning their food with medicine. They knew exactly what they were doing. The science gets even crazier when you realize rosemary's disease-fighting compounds work synergistically. Each component amplifies the others, creating a therapeutic effect that's impossible to replicate in synthetic drugs. It's like nature designed the perfect multivitamin disguised as a cooking herb. Modern research keeps validating what traditional healers knew centuries ago. Rosemary isn't just preventing disease, it's actively reversing cellular damage that leads to chronic illness. The anti-inflammatory effects alone rival prescription medications without any nasty side effects. Your immune system gets a massive boost from regular rosemary consumption too. The herb trains your white blood cells to identify and eliminate threats more efficiently. It's like upgrading your body's security system with military-grade software. But rosemary's real magic happens when you understand how it works on multiple disease pathways simultaneously. Most medications target one problem. Rosemary targets dozens. Speaking of targeting multiple problems, wait until you discover what this same humble herb can do for your appearance and beauty routine. When 82% of people reach for rosemary, they're not thinking about cooking. They're desperately trying to save their hairline. And honestly, they're onto something revolutionary. Your grandmother might have whispered about rosemary water for thick hair, but she probably didn't know the science behind it. Rosemary oil literally hijacks your hair follicles' blood supply. It forces more circulation to your scalp than almost any other natural substance. More blood means more nutrients. More nutrients means stronger, faster-growing hair. But here's where it gets wild. Rosemary doesn't just grow hair, it prevents your existing hair from turning gray too early. The antioxidants in rosemary oil penetrate deep into your hair follicles and protect the cells that produce melanin. Those are the cells responsible for your natural hair color. When they die off, hello gray hair. When rosemary protects them, your original color sticks around longer. Then there's your skin, which has been quietly suffering while you focus on expensive creams. Rosemary cream acts like a shield against environmental damage. Air pollution, UV rays, cigarette smoke, all that junk floating around, trying to age your face prematurely. Rosemary's antioxidants form a protective barrier that's stronger than most commercial anti-aging products. And the weird part is how it handles acne. Most people think acne needs harsh chemicals to disappear. Wrong. Rosemary oil naturally fights the specific bacteria that cause those angry red bumps on your face. It's gentler than benzoyl peroxide, but just as effective. Your skin gets clear without that tight, irritated feeling you get from drugstore acne treatments. Let's not forget the circulation boost your scalp gets from rosemary massage. When you rub rosemary oil into your scalp, you're not just moisturizing. You're literally waking up dormant hair follicles. Some people have follicles that went to sleep from stress, poor diet, or genetics. A good rosemary scalp massage can coax them back to life. Well, here's something your dermatologist probably won't mention. Rosemary works better when you're consistent, not when you're desperate. People tend to try it once when their hair is already falling out in clumps. That's like watering a plant after it's completely dried up. Start using rosemary oil regularly before you have major hair problems, and you might never need those expensive hair transplant consultations. The beauty industry has spent billions convincing you that natural ingredients are cute but weak, that synthetic chemicals are where the real power lives. But rosemary breaks that rule completely. It outperforms many chemical alternatives while being gentler on your skin and scalp. Makes sense, right? Your hair and skin have been waiting for something this simple and powerful. Most people waste years bouncing between products that promise miracles but deliver disappointment. Rosemary delivers results that actually stick around. But your hair and skin are just the beginning of rosemary's talents. Wait until you discover what this humble herb can do around your house and kitchen. Your grandmother probably never told you that rosemary could replace half the chemicals under your kitchen sink. Well, she should have. Food companies spend billions on preservatives, but rosemary beats most of them at their own game. The same compounds that protect the plant from rotting in nature work magic on your leftovers. Drop a few fresh sprigs into olive oil, and it stays fresh for months longer than usual. Ancient Egyptians figured this out thousands of years ago when they used rosemary during long desert journeys. Modern meat processors now extract rosemary's natural preservatives and add them to sausages and deli meats. Makes sense, right? But the weird part is how it handles bugs. Mosquitoes hate rosemary more than cats hate water. Plant it around your patio, and you've created an invisible bug barrier that works better than those toxic sprays that make your food taste like chemicals. Ants won't cross lines of dried rosemary powder. Neither will moths in your closet. Then there's the stress thing that nobody talks about. Cooking with fresh rosemary actually lowers cortisol levels in your body. Scientists tested people's saliva before and after eating rosemary-seasoned meals. The stress hormone dropped significantly every single time. Your Italian grandmother wasn't just making dinner taste better. She was literally making your life more relaxing. Let's not forget your digestive system practically throws a party when rosemary shows up. That heavy Thanksgiving meal that usually leaves you groaning on the couch? Rosemary tea cuts through all that grease and helps your stomach break down fats faster. European restaurants have served rosemary tea after rich meals for centuries, but Americans somehow missed this memo. And the whole air freshener industry should be terrified of this little herb. Those plug-in fresheners release chemicals that can trigger headaches and allergic reactions. Rosemary does the opposite. Boil a handful of fresh sprigs in water and your house smells like an expensive spa for hours. The antimicrobial properties actually clean the air while making it smell incredible. No fake vanilla or spring rain nonsense required. Here's where it gets really interesting. Rosemary smoke was used in medieval hospitals to purify the air during plague outbreaks. Turns out those doctors were onto something. The smoke kills airborne bacteria and viruses naturally. French hospitals burned rosemary bundles in sick rooms well into the 1900s. Even your laundry benefits from this powerhouse plant. Add dried rosemary to your dryer, and clothes come out smelling fresh without fabric softener chemicals. The natural oils cling to fabrics and keep them smelling good for weeks. The craziest part? All these uses cost practically nothing compared to store-bought alternatives. One rosemary plant in your garden replaces dozens of expensive household products. Ancient civilizations built entire economies around herbs like this, and we've somehow convinced ourselves that chemical versions work better. Your wallet, your health, and your home environment all improve when you start thinking of rosemary as more than just a cooking herb.